How's it going, everyone? Welcome to the case study section of this course. And before we really dive in the case study one by one, we need to do some basic Blender setup to optimize texturing process. As you can see here, we have a Blender open it up. The interface looks a little bit different compared to yours, but no worries. You'll be able to access this Blender file in the support file section of this course. So we'll be able actually seeing the user face that I set up for this Blender. So we don't need to go over too much details in this. And first thing we need to do for this section, we need to making sure we enable the node wrangler add-on. And we're gonna go to the edit and the preferences. And you can see here, just making sure you type in the node in this search bar, and you will see node wrangler add-on over here. Making sure you check this box to enable the node wrangler add-on. And we are basically going to use quite a bit of shortcut after we enable this add-on. And if you're not sure or you don't know where to find the shortcut key list, here's you can just see all of these. I have quite a bit of shortcut. You really don't need to know all of these, but this is something that you'll be able to go find it if you don't know where to find all this information. We will go over quite a bit shortcut when we're doing the actual case study. Okay, so no worry about that. We're just gonna, you can go here and make sure you save that and then exit out. Okay, now next thing we need to do, we're gonna creating a quick mesh, and Shift A, we can just basically just creating a UV sphere, as you can see here, and just click that. And if you go to tab key, edit mode, you will see this UV sphere doesn't really consist with all the quads. So because the top part is consists with triangles, this is not something that we don't want to have. And also you're trying to avoid this kind of issue when you're doing texture, because it usually causing an issue with stretching. So for better demonstration, I'm just gonna hit X to delete this. I'm gonna do Shift A to do a cube, okay? And then I'm gonna hit Control number 2, and then to adding 2 level of subdivision. And next, I'm gonna making sure hit Apply, and then I'm gonna hit Tab key to go to the edit mode. This looks pretty good as a quad sphere, and we need to hit Shift Alt S and drag this mouse and click. Okay, after you did left click, you will see we have a small pop out window here to sphere. You can actually changing the factors involved. Okay, so if we move it to the ones, it will actually make it look more round, more sphere. So this is what we're having over here, and hit tab key, and then we're gonna hit Control 2 to adding another 2 level of subdivision modifier, and then we're gonna hit right click, shade smooth. All right, cool. This is going to be the model that we're going to use when we're doing texture. After we build this quick model, we are going to actually start setting up how to do the texture. Good thing about what we have done earlier is this was originally a cube. So if we go to the UV editing tab, click here, you will see here we already have a UV unwrapped, quickly get it done by the Blender when adding any mesh inside of here. So that's something I quickly do. Of course, in the real world, when we're actually working with a 3D model, it's going to be way more complicated than just cube. But by now, what we need to do here, we just need to know we're already finished the UV unwrapping process. And the UV unwrapping is a form of art by itself, because it's actually involved quite a bit stuff. And we can utilizing a lot of add-on to really helping them to make it process better. When we diving deep inside the case study, we will do more practice with that. Okay, so now next thing, we're just gonna go to the shading tab. Under the shading tab, this is where the actual texturing process happens. As you can see here, your layouts may be a little bit different compared to mine. So when you actually having multiple windows, you can either clip them, or you can split them to another one. If you move your mouse cursor to somewhere here, you see a cross, and you can just left click and drag down. It will split different windows. So if you want to combine these two, you can just come here again, hold it, and then you can just move your mouse around to making sure you can actually control the directions, and you can just merge that. And sometimes I found that this kind of way is a little bit tricky, because It happens sometimes I just split more. What I would do, I typically just go here. Once the cursor turn to the cross and do right click, and then I can just join areas, and then these two I can just quickly and accurately to kind of join these together. If you have a second monitor, which I do, and what I would do, usually I just hit the shift key and having this cross and the drag, and now quickly I have a window pop out, and I can just kind of move the window to my second monitor somewhere. I can use the second monitors when I'm doing the texture process. It's actually going to help quite a bit. But if you don't have it, you still can work with this. And if you are feeling, oh, this is still too tiny, what you can do here, you can hit, making sure your mouse cursor is in this current window, and hit Control and the space bar. You can having this as a full screen. Okay, so same thing, you can just do that. Okay, Control space bar, it is a very useful shortcut. Okay, so now what we need to do here, as you can see here, we have two similar layout. This is what I prefer. I prefer having one side is under the world, the other one's under the object, because in the reality, a lot of people forget that this is a 3D software. We're in the 3D environment. This is not a real environment. A lot of times, have you heard about HDRI? It is high dynamic range image. So this is working as an environment. Currently, what we have for the background or the world, you can actually choosing these under here, and it's just a gray background. You can change the color and the background accordingly. The reason you don't see anything in here is simply because we're under the solid mode. So if we go to the render view in here, you will see the grayish color is the background. Okay, so this is what we're seeing in the background. If I choosing the background color into a red, you will see this is what's happening here, and I can adjusting that. But still, this is not really photorealistic, because there's no environment actually going to having this one solid color with one single strand to cover the entire world. So we need to do a environment textures, which is often called HDRI image. And what we need to do here, we need a left click and hit Control T. Because we enable the node wrangler add-ons, that's why we can utilize this shortcut keys quickly, adding some nodes inside here. And as you can see here, if I'm left click and drag a box, I can just move things around. I want to quickly kind of explain what's going on here. This is called world output, or if you go to the subject, it's gonna called material output. This is the area that you're gonna plug in certain nodes in order to program the whole thing to let it showing what's going to look like with surface. So for the environment, you can see here we have a environment background, but when we actually having a environment texture plug in, we'll be able to actually open a HDRI image and load it in to really use HDRI as the environment. Okay, let me show you how. After you having building this kind of chain, what we call nodes, and being hooked by noodles, this is being a working program. Okay, so what we need to do here, we need to click open. I provided two HDRI images that are downloaded from HDRI Haven. They're 100% free, and I'm just gonna load in one of these. And one is the original HDRI with the color. The other one I just converted to a black and white HDRI, and I have demonstrated how to convert HDRI into black and white in one of my YouTube videos, and you can check that out. Okay, I'm just going to select this HDRI, hit open image, and then Control spacebar come out. And then once you see we have loading the HDRI, the environment changed. Okay, and if we actually go in here, Control space, and we can see if we're holding the middle mouse button, we can just kind of rotate around to see this. We are inside of actual bathroom, interestingly. So this is the kind of the environment that we are currently sitting in, where model is inside this lighting environment. Okay, Control spacebar come out. It's kind of annoying to see all these details and things around in this 3D environment. What we can do here, we can just go to the render property under the film, and you will see there's a transparent. Once we check this box, and you will not be able to see the content from the backgrounds. This is what we want to do. Hit that. So you will only see the lighting affecting on the physical mesh. And interestingly, you will notice this is kind of warm tone, isn't it? It's not really a pure neutral lighting. So what we can do here, we can actually just hit Control Spacebar in here and to just dragging over here, and Shift A to adding a hue and saturation node put here, and we can just drop in here. That's gonna actually automatically hook each other and to do that. And if I'm coming out, Control Spacebar, it's having some color cast. If I'm dial the saturation all the way to 0, you will see this become a neutral lighting for this environment. So this is kind of pretty quick and nice to fix this. Another way to do is you're just going to load the black and white version, because the reason I built this is just this is kind of the default lighting I typically use when I start with a scenario, when I start working on a file, and I don't really want to spend more time to kind of adding more nodes to adjusting the saturation to getting that lighting neutral. I can just drop in. Although it saved a couple of seconds, but still a good amount of time that's saved. Okay, so that's what's happening here. We're still in the solid mode on this side. This is the render view what we have. Now what we can do here, we can select the actual subject. We can actually do the texturing. Okay, so as you can see here under the object tab, and we can do building the textures for this model. And you may wonder, once we have a lighting, why do we have kind of like a whitish texture built in? Simply because Blender built a default texture before we're actually building a real texture for them. So what we need to do here, we're just gonna hit new. You will see we have a material, and it's currently named materials. I would just click that. I can change that, just text. I can just change the name, testing, and that's the testing material. And without doing anything, we already have a principal BSDF built in. And at this stage, because we're using this software to kind of do a demonstration, what I really wanted to do, I'm actually want to maximize this space to really help you guys to see what's going on in here. So what I would do here, I'm going to right click and join areas and go up, and then what I would do, I'm going to change this world to the object. Then we can see more content in here, and then we can change this to the world. So basically just gonna you have a lot of flexibilities to change the layout according to the task that you want to do, and that's always your call. So each person have your preferences to do the job, but this is something that I want you guys to be aware that you can possibly do this easily. And of course, if you have a second monitors, you don't have the space issue on your screen. Okay, anyway, so this we are seeing a principal BSDF, and this is exactly reflecting what is the default texture that Blender created. And so far, this is everything I want to share in this video. And in the next video, I'm going to share more information about principal BSDF.